a bunker under the ground somewhere in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm Shumai Shirashima, and you're listening to Doom Business. Alright folks, welcome back to the continuation of our last show.
Our last show, we put together our top 5. Each of us made a top 5 list of the scariest, weirdest stories from the past year. And we're going to pick up again. We got how far? What's the next one?
Well, I think you had... it was that one there. Yes.
My number 2 most disturbing paranormal story of 2012.
All right.
And that is 100-year-old objects.
Interesting.
Now, in Japanese mythology, they're called Tsukumogami.
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 Now you see...
Tsukumogami. The Japanese people in their mythology have long believed that if an object, a household object, such as a slipper...
Toothbrush?
That's right, or a toothbrush, is used and cared for and really used by people every single day for 100 years, at the end of that time, that object is granted a soul and it becomes intelligent.
Is this a real thing? A real belief?
That's right, it is.
Never heard of it.
And I experienced this myself.
Uh-huh, here we go.
An actual 100-year-old object.
Now this is it. All right, what happened?
Now there are many stories about this, first of all. In fact, there are even stories about, back in the 1970s, in San Diego, there was a story about a piano that people had used for 95 years, not quite 100. And there's documentation that it was used every day in a local tavern, and before that, in a casino, for 95 straight years. So it was close to being that, and then it disappeared. No one knows what happened to that. But here in Hawaii, I investigated a real object that was said to be alive. I was called to the Japanese Cultural Center.
This is basically some kind of possessed object.
That's right. It has its own soul and intelligence, and it likes to play tricks on people.
Interesting.
I was called in because the people at the Japanese Cultural Center were having problems with a doll.
Oh, no.
A geisha doll.
Now, you see, this is where things get a bit too much for me.
It was 10 inches long.
I don't like to have these images of little children, dolls or whatnot, involved with negative paranormal activity.
It's a 10-inch long geisha doll that stands in a little display case there. They have a display for cultural artifacts. And now some nights, they reported that people would come back in the morning and the doll would have moved, like it's not in its case anymore, but it's standing...
Really not?
It's standing on the floor outside.
It's not just moved, just like turning a little bit, like it actually is out of the case.
That's right. Now, no one saw it move, but they come in the morning and it is in a different place. Now, I was consulted because a lady there, who's the secretary there... Oh, they're not called secretaries anymore, but whatever they are.
Oh.
Office manager.
Female professionals.
The female professional was very disturbed by this and didn't like it. And she said, can you make this stop happening? So I did research. And my research said, to make one of these Tsukumogami stop moving, you just have to not care for it for a day. So in other words, don't pay any attention to it for just one day, and it will stop moving.
I've heard of it. This is called paranormal reverse psychology.
That's right. But because it was in this display case, people were always paying attention to it every day.
Oh, I get it.
So I told them, just cover it with a sheet.
Like a parrot.
For one day and don't look at it, right? So I come in the next day, and it moved again.
Didn't work.
And the lady there said, I'm sorry, I couldn't stop thinking about it because I was too scared of it. So then I said, okay, really seriously this time.
You can't even think about it?
Well, you can't look at it. She had to just check to see if it moved. But see, when she checked to see if it moved, that was already paying attention to it. You know?
Oh, yeah,
and that happened, well, that happened the previous day and the next day. So there was no day that passed when she didn't pay attention to it.
Just get rid of it. You can't just get rid of it? Is it like a priceless antique that you just can't get rid of it?
I mean, the center, well, here's the thing. The center didn't want to get rid of it, and that was part of the problem.
They own the doll. Yeah.
See, the next day I went in, I went back and I told her, don't look at it. Don't even look at it. So then the next day I came back in and it had moved again. And she said, I didn't look at it. But then I talked to the manager there, the director of the center, and he said, I looked at it. Because he said it was becoming a big tourist attraction.
Oh,
so they actually want it to move. Mm-hmm. So he said, we can't hide it. And actually I looked at it on purpose so that it would keep on moving. So I didn't know what to tell them. I told them, try not looking at it, but then the guy said, we want it to move. So I don't think they're going to stop looking at it.
Oh, so it's still going on then?
Yeah.
Wait, is this dangerous?
I don't think it's dangerous. I think it just plays pranks. Like it just wants people to be surprised when it moves. When they find it somebody that's not supposed to be. Or sometimes it will, apparently it will move like a paperweight on someone's desk. It will open up cans of soda inside of a soda vending machine. It's just playing tricks on people.
That's weird. Why would a demon or an apparition or a entity of some kind just do that? Well, I mean, some people are like that. Some people murder people. Some people love people. Some people play tricks on people.
I think it's just
so maybe it's just like this ghost, this entity. Some of them do exist.
Also, because it's so small, it probably has the mind of a child. So.
Now,
That's my number 2 story. It will not be resolved, apparently. It'll keep on doing that.
Number 2, huh? So what number am I on right now?
You're on number 2 also.
Well, first of all, back to the lively doll.
Yes.
Is there some way to not have it be 100 years? Like, could you condense that time? And can I direct this energy to maybe like a mannequin or something?
I've never tried that. But maybe if you put a lot of energy into it.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't see why not.
I'm just speaking.
Most of these things are things that you touch, so it makes sense.
I'm speaking symbolically.
Yeah.
Somehow. But if I were to give my mannequin a lot of attention in various ways, one part mental, one part physical, would that bring it to life?
I would have to say it probably would. But I don't know
in
if
100 years,
the process.
Maybe.
Have you been using it every day?
Well,
without missing a
I don't
day?
touch it. I don't touch it. I don't look at it.
Oh, okay.
I don't do anything to this mannequin.
Okay, all right, fine.
But if I were to want it to come alive and move, symbolically, metaphorically, it's got to be some way to speed up the process. If I give more energy, like if I give spurts of energy.
I don't know if that would work.
If I give it my spurts of energy.
Can you do it more than once a day, though? Like 3 or 4 times?
Anyway, though, I'll keep trying. If I were to do this, I would keep trying. Here's my number 2.
Number 2?
Let's see here. This is from... See, now, she wrote down the high school, but then she scratched it out. And she just wrote the word no next to it. This one says, Japanese all-girl rock band found buried in mountain.
A mountain?
Japanese all-girl rock band. There was a band in Japan.
A mountain in Japan? A Japanese mountain?
You see,
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Well, she doesn't even have like a whole paragraph. She just has bullet points. It says Hawaii, Mauna Lani Mountain. This is in Kaimuki. Japanese rock band disappeared. Found deep in mountain next to Hawaiian bones. They're doing construction there, building like a new tunnel through this mountain. And
I've heard about
they
that.
They found Japanese rock band with instruments. The skeletons were clutching the instruments. Especially the drummer.
Wait, the Japanese ones?
Yes.
What about the Hawaiian skeletons?
The Hawaiian skeletons were just skeletons.
Were they hugging each other? I heard about this on the news once.
The hugging?
Remember the hugging skeletons?
I saw that.
That was just in the news the other day.
Lee Cataluna was reporting that one.
Yeah. How did they get there?
That's the problem. You know, there are a lot of weird portals in Hawaii. I've heard of a story once. This is an old Hawaiian ghost story where this tourist was walking down along a path in the Pali Lookout.
Yes.
And she came across a tunnel, a little cave. And she walked into the cave. And on the other end, she was in what she described as old Hawaii. There's no city to see, no city landscape. It was all just trees and more trees. And she saw peeking around a tree a naked Hawaiian man with a spear.
Peeking out from a tree?
Yes. Ogling her.
Now, how could she tell that he was completely naked? Was he partly behind the tree, or?
Well, I mean, it was like a 1-inch tree.
Oh.
It was a newfound baby-born tree. But a tree nonetheless. So she ran out of there. She ran back out. She told her tour guide, and they all ran back to see the cave, and the cave was gone.
So do you think that this is a similar portal that opened up?
Swallowed up this Japanese old girl rock band. You know, because they come down here to play at Blaisdell and other gigs.
Oh, so they were here.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe the portal was from Japan.
No.
All the way here.
See, this last bullet point here says, and this is like in times 50 font.
Oh, this bullet point looks like more like a triangle. The other ones are round.
And it says here, playing gig at Blaisdell / $50 per seat. Well, that's my number 2.
It's very disturbing.
Okay, well, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Wambata at the KHIH Late Night News Desk. President Obama and his family are headed back to Washington. Their holiday vacation was almost cut short when a Secret Service food taster detected a toxic chemical in his shaved ice. But it just turned out to be blue-colored vanilla syrup. I'll be back with more news at the top of the hour. Stand by for more Doom Business here on KHIH 8:30 a.m., where talk matters.
The paranormal is our business, and business is dooming. Like us on Facebook for up-to-date information on future interviews. Hey, enjoying the show? Visit us at viewscreenon.com for more original programming. You're listening to Doom Business. And now, back to Shumai.
And we're back. Are you on number 2 or is this number 1?
No, this is my number 1 story.
I don't
my
know.
Number 1 scariest story from the past year. Are you ready?
I'm a little disappointed in my number 2. That should have been number 5. But anyway, let's just move on.
Rearrange it.
Let's just move on.
Number 1 story. The Hobbit makes you see shadow people.
Oh, right. The idea here is that if you watch certain DVDs,
At one time, people were scared of DVDs.
because they would
But now...
program your eyes to see things you wouldn't normally see.
That's right. The new Hobbit, when you see it in 48 frames per second, which is a new technology that mysterious people in Hollywood are trying to push,
Probably the Illuminati.
48 frames per second is double the frame rate of normal movies. And it trains your eyes to see a different frequency of movement and speed. And what that causes, some people say, is that it causes you to be able to see things that you couldn't normally see. Now, as these movies get more and more popular, more people start seeing this. Right now, The Hobbit is only shown in about 10% of theaters across the nation. are showing it in 48 frames per second.
We're lucky.
The rest are normal.
We're lucky to have that one showing.
That's right. I went down to the Regal Cinemas here in Hawaii to one of the theaters that was showing it in 48 frames per second just because I wanted to see it. Mm-hmm. So I watched the movie, but then I had a strange experience afterwards. I watched the movie, whatever, Gollum, blah, blah, blah. A good movie. Mm-hmm. I finished.
I saw it. I think it's better than the first one. I think it's better than the other three put together.
The Lord of the Rings?
That's my opinion. I like this Bilbo guy better than I do the Frodo guy.
Yeah, that guy is weird.
Wait, the Frodo guy.
The Frodo guy is weird, yeah. Anyway, I finished watching the movie. I walked out of the theater. Now, they had the thing to give back the 3D glasses, but I kept it. Because I went, hey, I paid for this.
You can keep
These are like free sunglasses.
Wait, can you keep them?
Yeah, you can keep them.
Oh, okay.
They're like free sunglasses. So I put them on as I was walking out of the theater, and I almost tripped over something. But, I
don't think they're UV protected, but go on.
I went to the bathroom, because I had to go to the bathroom after sitting through a 3-hour movie and drinking a soda. So I went in, and it was dark in there. Or it was actually the same as usual, but it looked darker because of my glasses. And I said, hey, I'm not, I'm going to wear these 3D glasses. It's going to make the world seem more 3D. Little did I know my eyes had been trained to see the unseen.
This sounds like...
After watching that movie.
This actually sounds a lot like They Live, starring the great Roddy Piper.
There's more truth in that movie than most people would think.
There's like a remake that just came out called Branded. Some Russian movie.
Wait, is that is this an official remake?
No, it's not, but it's very similar though to They Live. Imagine, if you will, Daywatch meets They Live.
Now, does it have a fight scene in the middle, like it was Roddy Piper and was it Keith David or David Keith that he fought?
I think it's Keith David. Well, yeah. He's very, very famous in the voice acting community.
That's right.
He's really good. It's a good scene. That's a good movie. I don't know about this Branded thing. I might not watch this Branded thing. It just looks like a Matrix ripoff, honestly.
Getting back to my story, if I may. I step into the dark bathroom, and I go to open up a toilet stall, and I swing the door open, and something comes right at my face.
And what is that?
A black shape. Here's what I saw.
One thing comes to my mind, but I won't tell you what that is. But
I swung the door open, and I saw what I believe is a shadow person who seemed very surprised at first, sitting on the toilet. And they seemed really surprised, like they didn't expect the door open.
They're on the toilet. I mean, I would be surprised too.
So this black figure jumped up, and I can't see any detail on their body. It's just a silhouette in space of darkness. I couldn't see any detail on any part of their body, but they jumped up and they stood up, and then in a blink of an eye, they just disappeared in front of me. Now, I have my theories about what this was.
Did you smell anything real?
I didn't smell anything at the time, except for popcorn. But that was probably just in the theater. I have my theories at the time. Here's what I think happened. I think the shadow people are just regular people from another dimension alongside ours.
The fourth dimension?
And, yes. And maybe once every 1/40th of a second, we can see into their world.
This sounds like UFOs, too.
And it was coming right at my face, and it felt like I was really there, in 3D. So I took off those glasses, and I threw them away, because I was too scared now. I threw them actually into the toilet, which I shouldn't have.
Well, like I said, I mean, this sounds a lot like UFOs, how people describe UFOs.
Yes.
With their video cameras, or still photography. The idea is that, yes, this is how they put it. This is how they put it. Certain people can see certain things at a higher frame rate, like in life. I don't know what the frame rate is in life, but certain people can see in between the frames, if you will. In between the frames.
Yes.
Now, some people say it's about getting rid of the blur in between the frames. Like, if I shake my hand in front of, if I wave my hand in front of my face right now, which I'm doing right now, it's blurry. But if I blink constantly. It's still kind of blurry, but
Okay, keep winking. Yes, I see it.
if you just walk around blinking as fast as you can, and you might see a UFO, and you might see a ghost or a shadow person.
Be careful, though, if you do that.
Maybe there's other ways. Maybe the key is just to look at the world literally differently.
Something to think about. I saw The Hobbit. It wore off, though, shortly after that happened. But what happens next year when I go to see The Hobbit Attack of the Dragon, and then I might see it again, and my eyes might get more and more accustomed to seeing it. And I don't want to see these things. I've already seen enough stuff,
Right.
as you know.
You know, another big question is, not only will your brain be trained to see more shadow people, but after the first movie, based off of the short book, where else will the story go? We don't know. We think he might just add in random story plots. Who knows?
Well, we know that...
And there's 3 movies.
We know that there's The Hobbit 2 Attack of the Dragon, and then there's The Hobbit 3, and we don't know anything about that.
That one might just be a lot of just random stuff that Tolkien left behind.
Just things that he wrote, appendices, the Silmarillion.
On the back of the Lord of the Ring 3 book, The Return of the King, had a lot of extra stuff on the back, apparently.
They were just digging through his garbage, and they found some stuff.
It does sound like that, doesn't it? Like they're just desperate for more of his stuff. But, actually, before we leave this shadow person topic,
Yes.
I actually did have my own shadow person experience.
Did you?
I did, really.
What was it?
Well, I was sleeping, then I woke up in the middle of the night, afraid. It felt similar, the fear that I felt was similar to the choking ghost. Intense fear. Except I didn't see a face in front of me. But I looked towards, I guess my door. Well, I just turned my head towards the wall, and it was like a whole different, it was like I could see through my bedroom wall. I could see the living room on the next side.
This is back when you had a house?
This is back where I'm living right now.
Oh, this is here.
With the dogs.
I'm kind of scared. Go on.
But, it did feel like I was looking through a different dimension, into a different dimension, a world that's similar to ours. What I saw was a shadow person in the kitchen cooking eggs. And he was surprised to see me. And maybe even like a little angry to see me. There's a guy in Britain somewhere he was born with this condition where the world is flat to him. I don't know the actual name, the term, but everything is flat. Like if you see a bird up a tree, he can't pinpoint it. Like it's not 3D, like it's in the background.
Right, no depth perception. Yeah. So he might just think, maybe it's a really small bird that's close to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He can't tell. But then he saw Hugo, Scorsese's Hugo film in 3D.
Yes.
And after he saw that movie, or actually once it started, he had the glasses and everything. Then from that point on, he could see like how we see.
It changed him permanently?
It did. A movie changed him.
Don't show that guy The Hobbit, because who knows what will happen.
Very, very interesting story. So that was your number 1?
That's right. That's my number 1 scariest encounter.
Oh, I don't know if I can top that. That wasn't really scary to me. That was the most brain
At that moment,
enticing.
when I opened up that toilet stall, I was scared.
I would have been fascinated. I actually wouldn't mind meeting a shadow person. Do you recall if they had red eyes?
I know there's been stories about scary red eyes.
Because if it had red eyes, then I might have to not want to meet this person.
You would just check out. You would go, no thank you. I will say the shadow person I saw in the bathroom did not have red eyes, but I think there's different kinds. I think that one is just a normal person. But there are other shadow people who are evil.
There are other shadow people. Usually people see the one that you saw. Well, maybe. I mean, the normal one, let's say. But a lot of people also see some with top hats.
I think that those might be people from another universe, a parallel universe, where that kind of fashion is just still popular.
You know, the female shadow people, interestingly enough, and it sounds very 1920s fashion style. The women have like veils in front of their faces. I think that's like 1920s, maybe 30s.
Yes.
Interesting. So this is my top strange story.
Your number one story.
Okay. For the sake of privacy, I will not say who this is or what school this is from. But I will read it as it was given to me, word for word. Here it comes. First the title. Pregnant women tricked into eating alien implant ice cream.
Uh-oh. No.
Okay.
This sounds bad. This sounds bad on several levels.
Oh, right, because you have an implant in... Well, you allegedly... Well, actually, no, I mean...
How would you make ice cream out of it, though?
Well, it was in the ice cream. It was like just implanted into the ice cream.
Well, please tell me this. I want to hear about this.
Okay. A male Samoan nurse was arrested for tricking women in the pregnancy ward at Jasminaka Hospital into eating ice cream containing what he later admitted as being, quote-unquote, alien implants. Said he was an alien from Saturn. His implants would enlighten people. He also said that the military is run by bad aliens, also known as the reptilians. The "the" is capitalized. Now he's arrested for life.
Now, hold. I have so many questions here.
That's all. That's all. All these other news stories were very long, and I had to email the original reporters to shorten them so I can read them.
Yeah.
We're actually over time right now, so. But this last one, though, this is all I got. This was all there was. It was just this one paragraph.
This raises a lot of questions.
So I can't answer too many questions.
He was an alien, or he thought he was, from Saturn.
It says here.
The government.
It says here.
Stop. Oh.
It says here that he. Look, it just says that. Like, this is how she wrote it. Can't believe that this was even published. Said he was an alien from Saturn, period. His implants would enlighten people, period.
So far, this all makes sense. Keep going.
He says military is run by bad aliens, dash, also known as capital T, the capital R, reptilians.
Now, we all know about the reptilians, and they're up to no good. I believe that. Now, whether they're running the military, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, though.
Well, but the military is all about, well, they're very manly. They like the football and the guns. And the reptilians, the reptilian brain, see, there's some notes here, some random notes, some words. I'll just read the words off in no order.
Are these bullet points?
These are, no, they're just, it's just one long sentence, and the words have no spaces. I'm gonna have to try to figure the words out.
Okay.
The brain, left side, reptilian brain, cave people, fight or flight instinct, obsolete. Now that says a lot right there. We do have that part of our brains that says fight, you stay in your fight, like a real man, or you think smarter and you just run away and be safe.
Now, these reptilians...
They're all about battle.
Yes. And they're opposed to the man who claims he was from Saturn.
They're opposed to enlightened people. They're opposed... You know, I mean, if you're like a big guy, right? Like if you have a friends group and they're all like manly men, whatever that means, you can just put in your own words there what that means to be a manly man. I'm sure football is a word in there. And you were one of them. But now you're not as manly. Now you're nicer, kinder, gentler. You listen more. Your friends would probably insult you. They'd probably shun you, kick you out, make fun of you. Your enlightened state has made them angry.
I see.
They don't like enlightened people, the reptilians. They don't like that. And this person says he was trying to enlighten people with the implants through the ice cream.
Now, did they ever find any of these implants? So
they did.
This alien made them. Like he made these implants somehow?
I mean, I'm
and
assuming...
then put them in ice cream?
Now, how did he make the implant? I don't know. I mean, I don't know alien technology. I'm assuming they found them in... See, it doesn't say if they were in the stomachs or in the babies.
He wanted to implant...
You know about this more than I do.
Babies, I think.
Well, yeah, because that...
For the next generation.
Because if I was a baby... Well, I mean,
and now he's arrested. What happened to him?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
He's arrested for life.
Maybe the military took him and his supplies. But the thing is, though, if I were a pregnant woman, which I'm not, and I ate ice cream, I mean, if I ingested ice cream with the implant, well, actually, it does move. Yours moves.
That's right. My implant has moved before.
I was thinking maybe it would just come out of my butt when I use the bathroom, like any other food. Like if you eat like a penny, it would come out one of the holes. Hopefully the good hole. If I had an alien implant in me, a small one, I guess it would travel to where it's programmed to go, which would be the fetus.
That would not surprise me at all. They do move around in ways that are not explained by medical science.
This sounds like a lot like the X-Files storyline, now that I think about it. Remember that, the X-Files storyline, the black oil? No, that's the opposite. They wanted to destroy mankind. Is that right? It does seem like Hollywood, or the entertainment business, is probably preparing us for something big. So we don't get too surprised, you know? The one theory is that aliens were going to make themselves known back in the 50s. But they wanted to be sure that we wouldn't freak out. So they did a thing where they hovered around the home of the president.
Yes, I've heard about this.
Back in the day.
There were many sightings of flying saucers.
People freaked out
over Washington.
Now, it was that and the War of the Worlds, the Orson Welles War of the Worlds thing. The way people responded with that told the aliens, you guys are probably not ready yet for us to come down. People freaked out. People were jumping from buildings.
Yes.
That's crazy talk.
The population at large was not ready.
No.
Now, of course, later on...
But what would happen now, though, that we've been exposed to...
Well, there were other tests back in the 90s when they released the movie Independence Day, or ID4.
What was the response to that?
Only a few people jumped off of buildings then. But apparently we still weren't ready because the aliens did not make themselves known to most people, except for people like you and I.
The frustrating thing, too, is that they say that aliens actually look like us. I mean, we have their DNA. We are us and they are them. Wait. We are them and they are us.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Greys that I saw...
The Greys don't look human.
like us.
But the Greys, though...
But there are others. Yes, there are other kinds of aliens.
The Greys, they say, are actually not aliens, but they're interdimensional beings. Much like the latest Indiana Jones movie, where they weren't aliens, they were interdimensional beings.
That was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Crystal Skull.
It's probably the best Indiana Jones movie, at least better than the first. Well, folks, that ends our top 5 lists on the most interesting news of 2012. But now I want to try something different. Now let's try the prototype segment that I'm going to call The Year of the Centipede. This is where the music comes in. Alright, every start of the year, sometime around January, I'm going to predict what will happen. So in 2013, this year, I have a few predictions. Here's the first. The American dollar will go up.
I'm going to write this down.
Now write it down.
Write this down so that was accurate.
At the end of the year, you're going to try and see if it...
Let me write this down on my paper pad.
If it happened or not, write it down. The American dollar will go up. Chinese dollar will go down.
This is in 2013. This is going to happen.
So every trip that you want to take to China will be insanely cheap. You know, they have all that smog going on. I saw the documentary. In that one town, all that smog.
That's right.
It's bad for business. Prediction number 2. It's my second prediction. Weather will be heaven-like.
Heaven-like?
Yes, no more tsunamis. No more tornadoes.
Not even one?
No more deadly tornadoes. No more dangerous weather. Basically, no more dangerous weather. It's going to be a smooth year.
You're very optimistic, so why don't you move out of your bunker then, if it's going to be such a smooth year?
You got me. You got me. That was a test. I was just testing you. That was not my second prediction. You're good. You got me. That was good. Now my real second prediction, the real one, is that we will discover Bigfoot. Now this is interesting, folks.
We're very close to discovering it already.
We are. I keep track. We've actually already recorded the giant squid.
Yes. They filmed the giant squid in its natural habitat.
I saw the newspaper picture. I didn't see the video. Is it impressive?
I didn't see it either.
Oh.
I was too scared to see it.
I mean, and this is real. Like, I'm not making this up. I was at Walmart. I was buying whole wheat spaghetti and a can of chili at 4 a.m. And as I was walking away from the counter or the cashier, I saw the newspaper and it said that giant squid found or filmed. And, pretty exciting. So we found that. Later this year, we're going to find the giant Bigfoot. So, 2 predictions. 1, American dollar goes up and Asian dollars plummet. And number 2 prediction is we'll find the big feets.
I hope that your predictions come true.
I've been wanting to go back to Japan for a long time. But it's like $1,000 for one-way ticket. It's unacceptable.
What would you buy there?
Our dollar there is very weak.
If you had $10 in Japan, what would you buy?
Well, now or later?
No, later on.
In my world?
When $10 is worth a lot.
Oh, man. I'd buy a lot of... In Japan, they have women.
I've heard that.
And for them, it's normal. There's no guilt. Like, it's normal for you to go and rent a woman at some bar. But for research, I would like to go to Japan, rent me... I already feel guilty saying this. Maybe I've said too much. Well, that closes our segment, The Year of the Centipede. Well, folks, it's been a very exciting year so far. Good way to start the year with this countdown. Right? Very exciting countdowns there.
I'll be waiting to see if your predictions come true.
Now, you said before that you had some of that remote viewing lessons.
Yes.
You had some lessons that you wanted to teach us. I'm hoping maybe next episode you could tell us your lessons and some experiences of your travels in the astral plane.
I think it would be interesting if we tried a mental experiment next episode.
A very classic experiment for remote viewing.
The listeners can play along too. They can do this at home if they're not scared of demons. Because that could also happen.
We can't say it right now because the show has gone way over time, but the experiment basically is I sit in one side of the room, you sit in one side of the room, and I have a pen and paper, and you transmit to me telepathically an image, and I will try to draw it out. Is that how it works?
I think we can do that.
Yeah. And people at home can try it too.
I'm 90% sure that will work.
We'll try that in real time. We'll see what happens there. Until next time, folks, this is Doom Business, and business is dooming.
And that was Doom Business, your weekly dose of the paranormal. The time is now 1:30 a.m. Stay tuned for smooth jazz with Fuzzy P here on KHIH AM 830.